I guess this might be on, maybe? Yes, perfect. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. So I want to talk about here today the benefits of building hyper-personalized, hyper-close relationships with players, especially your top players. In our case, VIPs, since I'm in the VIP services department. So this is a quick agenda, but I'm going to go ahead and skip through it. Who I am, my name is Szczepan Steve Nowak, but most of my life, guys, I was born in Poland. Most of my life I spent in the States, so you can imagine I endured basically 21 years of name mispronunciation, so I adopted Steve. So I've introduced myself to some of you guys as Steve, and that's probably one of the reasons. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have over 12 years of customer-facing experience. It started in the hydraulic industry, and now it's gaming, so I'm really thrilled to be in this industry. I co-manage a team of about 13 account managers between Warsaw and Szczecin, and I'm really known for spilling a lot of things, so my buddies in the States, if they spill something right now, they're 3,000 kilometers away, they're gonna still blame me for it. And I'm addicted to Slack, so that's another thing that I think is quite important here. So about Huuuge here. So we're one of the big players here in the social casino space. Our two key games are Huuuge Casino and Billionaire Casino. They're both social casino apps. Our mission is to empower billions of players to play together, and our vision is to transform the mobile gaming experience into a very social experience. So the VIP experience plays really well into that, and I'll tell you guys what it's all about, right? So what is VIP, and what is a VIP program? What is a customer success program of any sort? So really, I was thinking about how to explain this, and in my mind, it's basically, I imagine an Oreo. On one side of the Oreo is the business and the KPIs of the business. On the other side of the Oreo is the happiness of their players and the retention of them. And the VIP program is that sweet fudge in the middle. So it's really finding that beautiful, mutually beneficial relationship between the player as well as the business, right? On the business side, you're going to drive revenue, retention. On the player side, you're giving them an extremely rich experience that other players don't have, and it's exclusive, right? In our case, we tested this over a 9-month period. And the managed group of players, as you can see here, had a very much higher, about 33% more retention rate over the control group, which wasn't managed, right? So it creates a really good benefit for your players, and it keeps them in the game, right? All right, so how do you make this happen? I think when I was trying to put these slides together, I said to myself, what is the most important part? And honestly, in the age of AI and a lot of generative text, etc., the human side of VIP account management is the absolute most important, right? People still yearn and kind of want that human touch, human experience. So this is where the account manager comes into play, right? So what we want to do here, and what I would want to focus on, is how important it is to emphasize the actual human interaction. It's super important. It's not like support, it's less macros, less AI, just more human. You want to be on a first name basis with the player, and you want to treat your portfolio kind of like your own business if you are an account manager, right? What we offer our players, so like our VIPs, they get really 360 degree of support. So not only do they get the reactive support from our 24/7 support team, they also get this VIP oversight, and the VIP account manager then is much more proactive in this case. So you could think about like an 80-20, right? And what I mean by proactive, I'll touch on that a little bit later, but how do we get in contact with these players? In our case, it was in-game banners. We started as a invite-only secret program. We're more of a loyalty program that you earn your way into as you progress through the loyalty program. What we saw that was very beneficial to us, for example, is implementing an in-game chat feature. And this helped us get much closer to basically about 100% of our VIPs, right? Prior to that, we were using different types of channels like Facebook and email. And certain people are not as communicative on those channels, but if you could be inside the game and communicate with the player inside the game, then you're definitely going to get much more engagement. In this case, what we could also do with our in-game chat, we tend to send different types of reach outs and promotions that are specific to the players through that chat. And if you look at the industry standard of like email opens, you're about like 20-something%. With the in-game chat feature, we get like above 50, sometimes 60% open rate, and a lot of engagement from the players, which is really awesome. A part of this like relationship building aspect, you get to also be much closer to the player. So your account managers know your players on a macro level, whether it's through surveys, and players are much more willing to give you feedback. The trust gets built up, and that trust then equals in amazing feedback sessions. And we take the survey itself to a more macro level where we invite players to video interviews, or even on a more casual basis where we just invite the player just to chat. We create a connection with the account manager as well as the player, and you get to just kind of deepen that connection, right? And most importantly, if I were to just run through the slides here and you guys would read, it would resonate differently with you than than me being up here and speaking, because the spoken word is super powerful here, and it's extremely, extremely good at building the relationship. Aside from that, community building is a big part of the VIP program. As you can see here, we have an exclusive VIP Facebook group. And in this group, we really try to foster a great community of players where they get to engage with each other. We obviously give a lot of freebies, and we have a lot of different types of tournaments, and it really is good at creating this awesome space for the players to be outside of just speaking with the account manager. What's also cool about this is once you get to Facebook, or once you get your players on Facebook, it opens up the channel of Facebook Messenger. So Facebook Messenger is a great way also to communicate with your players. It puts the account manager in the list of people that they're contacting that are part of their family. So it gives you access to the player outside of the game. And it's shown really good results for us in regards to reactivating players, whether they go lapsed, right? So on the VIP account manager side, so this slide is like no AI, be human. It's most important. It's really, really beneficial. And on the flip side, what you want to do is arm and really utilize the data that you have from all these gamers and empower the account manager to make these proactive decisions, right? So in our case, we built a really heavily data-driven dashboard for the VIP account manager that has data that's really simple to understand. So we are able to then initiate triggers whether a player has a bad experience. So what we know from speaking to players is a bad experience to them. We then give that to our BI team or our data team, and then they make these beautiful, beautiful dashboards for us that are very easy to understand, and we're capable of really acting before sometimes a bad experience goes sour and the player goes lapsed, right? In this case, this is where you could use AI and machine learning. In our case, we're building a disengagement model. A disengagement model helps us understand the player's behavior, whether it starts to decline, whether it's lower deposits, lower spins, lower amount of clicks in a certain area. It's really important to have that, because that's where the account manager in the relationship could really step in and try to figure out what we could do to keep the player in the game. In another way you could use this is predictive analytics. So you could learn from certain players and groups of players, segments, tiers, however you want to look at it. You could learn their spending habits, so when they like to spend, how they like to spend, what's their max limit, and these are very important things to know on how you send these offers through iApps or monetization and live ops to these players. We have an in-house CRM tool as well, so the CRM tool kind of helps us understand live what's going on with the player. So while you're speaking with the players, or whether you're the account manager looking over your accounts, you have quick access to seeing if they have some low balances and where you could input some kind of deal, or they have some low RTP experience as well. allowing to mix this data part and the human part. What this helps us do is the account managers have a super good understanding of what the players are. Sometimes when you do data analytics, you're not able to pick out these really small, intricate situations, and we could pass that information on to then the BA team. They could do certain analysis, as well as teams like the marketing team who get to have a persona or build that persona of the player that they're trying to reach out through their campaigns. So this is the fun part of being a VIP account manager in the VIP program. It's about perks. So we do perks, not only in-game rewards. So those enhance the gameplay. Those extend the session time. It makes the player feel appreciated. You give them something that they love doing because they're there playing your game, right? They're passionate about your game. So that is the fun part. But here's where you have to be really good friends with your economy team. You want to find a perfect balance there. And in regards to in-game rewards, right? There is a personal touch that you could add to this as well. In our case, we've been celebrating the anniversary as if it was a birthday of the player, the anniversary of when they started playing the game. And during these moments, we also reach out to lapsed players about these specific anniversaries, and it shows a really good reactivation results, because in average on a month, when we contact players that have a huge anniversary, let's say on that month, we've gotten back about 18% of players because it kind of connects with their gaming experience, right? In this case, also do ABT, so always be testing, A/B testing. It's really interesting to see sometimes how different currencies in your game are beneficial to send or give to players at different moments. You want to balance your monetization calendar and when you give these gifts out. But certain players, you might think that if the core currency for us, for example, is chips, you would think that everybody would want chips, but there's other currencies that players really love to play with, and it's important to know that, and it's all about understanding on a very close level those players in that case. The other part of rewards and gifting and perks, this is my favorite part, is actually leveraging the players' passion for the game and allowing them and giving them specific gifts to in real life, right? Real life rewards. So who doesn't love getting an Amazon delivery or some kind of a gift delivery, right? So we utilize our knowledge of the players and what they like and why and how to extend their perks. And what we do is we do certain gift drops, whether it's seasonal gift drops, or as you can see here in the pictures that I have, in one point we did slippers that the players absolutely loved. I wish I had a pair with me, but these slippers are based upon our character Betty here. Or in the summer, we sent mini fridges to players with our characters on there. This helps like build the brand as well for yourself, and kind of gives you exposure in many different angles, right? What's also cool and important here to do is once you have this close relationship with the player, you can also allocate yourself a budget where you can act on certain things that are happening in their life, you know? And I'll give you guys two perfect examples here. I had a player that had just gone through a storm in Florida, and she kept talking to me about, oh, Steve, like, I have this terrible mosquito problem, right? And I thought to myself, I have this impromptu gift budget, so why not surprise her and send her an awesome bug zapper? And she was absolutely thrilled. It's a super close personal touch to the experience for her, and she has this bug zapper to today. As well as in another situation, which was also very sweet of our account managers to do, one of our players had nearly lost her house in a fire on Thanksgiving, and then they didn't have any power or heating at home. So we utilized the impromptu gift budget here, and we sent them heated blankets and things that could keep them warm, and they absolutely loved it, right? So it's really the small things that count here. And all of these things combined not only extend the session time and keep the players happy and engaged and appreciated, but it also creates a stronger bond to the product, to the characters in the game, as well as just the account manager, as well as the player himself. And last but not least, what I want to touch on here is the destination events. I mean, this is the absolute favorite part of mine. I mean, who doesn't love going to Cancun or Cabo for free and to meet all your players? So it really the VIP appreciation event, we invite our highest value players, where we give them a full all-inclusive experience. In this case, you have to spend some money to make some money. So what we do is then select our group of players. They get a fully like immersive experience. Not only do they get to mingle and talk with your account managers and finally meet face to face, but they also get to meet some of the developers and the product people, and it becomes very powerful. What was really cool about one of the events that I went to, one of my first events, is we handed out the players. We kind of did one of those Oprah things, like you get a tablet, right? And on that tablet, we had a test version of our game where we wanted them to test a feature. The players tested a feature, they gave us some feedback, but on that test version of the game, they had the ability to create clubs. Clubs is one of the core features of our game. So almost instantaneously, you saw players, as you're giving them these iPads, create the clubs and really take that social experience, and you see your game happening basically in real life. To me, I thought that was like super special to witness, because you see the power of the game, and you see how much passion and love the players have for it. During these events, like again, you could have these roundtable discussions where you get some really great feedback. Players are really honest. It really senses another part of the community aspect, because you have all these face-to-face interactions. And last but not least, like we did in our case, you could use it for PR, and also it kind of, in a collateral sense, gives you some new players. You could imagine that while we're walking around the beautiful all-inclusive resort in Cabo with a bunch of huge swag on, people are like, how did you guys, from playing a game, you guys went here from playing a game, how did you do that, right? And then we explained to the players how they, to the actual new players, you could say, how they got here, and people were downloading the game while we were there. So it gives you some exposure. And what you can also do is then utilize some of the images, the videos for PR, for creatives, like you guys have been talking about. So it's really cool. You could see here in the picture, we had that's from our Cabo event on the top right here. And we had about 78 players plus their plus ones. It was a super awesome experience. You know, you really get to share that moment with the players, get closer with them. Many of the times I always talk about giving perks to the players and giving gifts to them and appreciating them this way. At these events, like, I was receiving the gifts as well, so the players really give it back to you as well tenfold. And what's really cool here is, like, the first event we had that I was a part of, we invited about 50 players, and that was like a good 700 days ago, so above almost 2 years. And 90%, 97% of those players are still playing, and they're still in the game, they're engaged, they're keeping the same type of level of spending. In some cases, sometimes they even increase their spending habits. That's what VIP is about. It's about going to trips, having fun with your players, not being scared of your players, but also creating this really beautiful mutual agreement here. So just a few key takeaways from me is prioritizing the human interaction. That's extremely important. Utilizing data-driven insights, so your account managers could be very proactive and react to certain situations. You connect the rewards to personal experiences, so each player gets some kind of a unique experience, not just general drop. Really boils down to players that feel appreciated they are loyal players, they spend and they stay in your game, and the word of mouth spreads, and hopefully you'll get more players and have really high retention rates, right? So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for great presentation.